the designers the whole time, such that if any requirements change, if anything changes, you can respond to it very easily and very quickly. Agile also has a few different principles. The idea is to satisfy the stakeholder through early and continuous delivery. So instead of waterfall development, where you only have one final deliverable at the end, with Agile development, you're doing this consistently. Every 2 weeks, you're doing this thing called a sprint. And at the end of the sprint, the idea is that you can have something that you're able to actually show your stakeholder. And again, as I said before, deliver working software frequently with a preference to a shorter time scale, namely sprints. Then the other ones, convey information to and within a development team through face-to-face conversation. Simplicity, which is, as it says right on the board, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done is essential. And then at regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective. And so this is super important for Change++ as a student org, especially with small teams. We're going to be meeting every few weeks to have these sprint meetings and really having constant and continuous delivery to our stakeholders to get feedback. So the Jira is a very commonly used tool to implement the Agile methodology. We're going to be standardizing it across Change++ this year. And I'm not going to be going into too much detail with it, but again, it's a technology that implements Agile methodologies in an easy-to-use manner. And again, we're standardizing it, and we're doing the main concepts that I'm going to cover right now are sprints, tasks, and story points. So sprints are essentially development periods. So instead of waterfall development, where you have one massive development period, and at the end of it, you just hope everything works, in Agile, you have consistent development periods, which typically last about 2 weeks, and they're called sprints. At the beginning of every sprint, you'll have a sprint meeting where you discuss the previous sprints and then assign tasks for the next one. And the goal is that at the end of every sprint, you have some deliverable that you can present. And so the tasks are assigned pretty straightforward to different developers, and the story points are assigned to tasks as essentially like how long is this going to take, how much work is this, and then you're definitely going to learn a lot more about this and the technology as you're on the team, but that's a brief overview. And then just to talk about how Jira will tie in with our onboarding, you'll see it more in the sprint phase when we get more into that, but ideally your EMs and PMs should introduce you to the concepts and ideas a little bit earlier. I think that's about it for that. Any general questions, I guess?
How are you so eloquent?
How am I so eloquent? Lots and lots of practice of this presentation right before it started. Any other questions? Shiv?
How's your hair so beautiful?
And on that note, we're going to end it.